Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little lovelies out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delish. And that life is treating you most deliciously. Now then, I've got to make it a quick video, my delicious babies, because number one, I've got my beautiful dear little friend Kaz coming today, my delicious babies, and plus I've got a lemon cake in the oven. Okay, my delicious babies, this is the second one. So I've done my first lot of rounds, with my beautiful dear little, friends and neighbours. Okay, my delicious babies, and I'm making another one. Okay, because the little baby upstairs, bless him, he's happens to like my lemon cake. Okay, well, so they all do. Do you know what I mean? But he just mentioned it today as well. I'm making another one today. I said, "So would you like some, our little baby?" And he said, "Yes, please." Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Now then, my delicious babies, what's the time, Mr. Rules? So it's 2:10 in the afternoon on the 7th of, I went to say January then. January, sick and tired, you've been hanging on me. Yeah, back to that again very soon. Okay, my delicious babies, now then. So the sun is trying to crack out. It's not been, I wouldn't say, probably as hot as what it has been. So for some in the world, in our old England rather, um, some will be rather pleased about this. For myself, no, I'm not, because I love the hot weather. Okay, my delicious babies. Anyway, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. We're still alive, we're still alive, okay? But I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you most deliciously. Now then, I'm just advertising one video today. I did do a little video while I was walking out and about yesterday evening. Yeah, those doors I want to mention, that ones have on their front door, it looks like an office. It certainly does not look like a home. I personally think it looks awful myself, okay? Some of the doors can be, shall we say, more pleasant than other doors. But the fact is still the same. When you put your key in the door, whether you rent or whether you bought or however it rocks and rolls, the fact of the matter is that I'm happy with my front door any day of the week because it looks like a home. These doors, it's like it's designed for you. Say if one's working in an office, so you're doing this all day, doing that all day, you know what I mean? Then you come home, then you do the damn same thing now, isn't it? You know what I mean, my delicious babies? So that's the point I was making there, plus the fact that they've taken up the, what is it? Because they've done a lot of work on that house, because I do know who used to live there, bless. And he moved, and he had a beautiful, dear little, sweet little pussycat who I did tell you all about a long time ago now, who very sadly passed away. He went missing, bless him. The other little pussycat's still not been found. And my beautiful little baby down the road, who's 19, somebody took him to the, must have had him for a few days, then took him to the PDSA, and then called, the dear lady and the dear son, like I said, not in that way, to the PDSA. But because he was 19, and they said that he had like problems, kidney trouble or whatever, which of course, when they get older, our beautiful little babies, they're going to have little things, aren't they? You know what I mean? They shouldn't. None of us should, whether we're little babies, animals, creatures, great and small, little and large birdies, or if we're adults, mankind, do you know what I mean? None of us should have all of those sorts of problems. Okay, my delicious babies. But anyway, so in the end, bless his beautiful dear little soul, 30th of July this year, he very sadly said goodbye to our world, my delicious little babies. Okay, so he went to sleep. Oh, I was so upset. Honestly, I still am now, because every time I walk past, I'd see him at the top of the drive, and do you understand what I mean? And give him a little fuss. Oh, so beautiful. Such a beautiful natured little baby, okay? So may he rest in peace, and may all the other little babies rest in peace, okay? Anyway, sorry, excuse me, my delicious babies. So yes, they took up, getting back to the other what I was talking about, the matter in hand. So they took up all the bricks, yeah, lots of bricks, isn't there, Martin? The little babies can. Yes. And so heaven knows what they're going to be doing with it. But yes, that is a 5 bedrooms, which the house is actually designed as a 3 bedroomed. But with those houses, the back gardens are humongous. You know, that was the days when you would buy a house and you get like a good bit of land, okay, Martin babies. But these days, you know, especially these poxy flipping square new builds, they give you a tiny patch of grass, you know, and you're supposed to be thankful for it, you know what I mean? And you're probably spending 200, yeah, stumbled there, rightfully so, 200 grand on the flipping damn thing, you know what I mean? Okay. So that's that really, Martin babies. They know how to con, don't they? Effing scammers, man. Big times. You know what I mean? Martin babies with everything. You know, anybody who's got a mortgage out there, you know, if you, and I've known this area for many, many, many years, you know, anybody with a mortgage, you know, you could pop into your friendly bank, okay, Marslichtig babies, because that's how they like to come across, isn't it? Till they start chasing ching, 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 or, you know, asking you what you're spending your ka-ching change on, pound, shilling, pence, dollars and change, you know what I mean, Marslichtig babies. But if you was to go in there and ask for your original paperwork to your house or to your flat, they wouldn't be able to give it you because it's one big effing scam, man. I'm glad that when I bought my flat, I had it for 3 years, and I'm glad that there we are, that I sold it. Very glad, there we are, that I sold it. Okay, I certainly didn't want that around my neck for the next 22 years, you know what I mean, Mads? I could have rented it out, yes, I could have done. It would have been so easy, and I was going to, when I sold that one, I was going to buy somewhere else, you know, because I wanted more a garden, that was more communal. So the flat was larger than this one in all respects. You know, the lounge was probably another third of this. You know, the bedrooms were a very good, lovely size. Bathroom was a lovely size, larger than what I've got here. But I'm blessed here. I rent this. I've got a lovely little front garden that I like to look after, and I've got a lovely little back. Well, it's not little actually. I've got quite a bit actually. If you look at some of the other flats, they've got smaller gardens. Some have been blessed to have larger, and some are not so blessed. I don't know how it all worked at that time. Anyway, Mads Lichtig babies okay. Some say it's because when you're building, you know, and it comes down and down and down like that. So, some say that anyway. But you wouldn't want to buy a flat if you've hardly, you know, got no grass. You've only got a patch of grass, you know what I mean, Mads Lichtig babies? Well, I certainly wouldn't anyway. But yeah, so they've turned it into a 5 bedroom. Anyway, I was showing you things. I was showing you, you know, the bloody bus stop. You know, anything that I do, Mads, babies, there we are. There's a point to what I do. Okay, now it used to be glass. It's not glass anymore. It's plastic. And no sooner does a new pane of bloody plastic effing everywhere, right? No sooner do they put a new pane up, somebody comes and graffitis it. And then when one's not doing that, you know, I showed you the floor there, you know, the ground. It just, you know, I remember decades ago, Marslichtig babies, and I'm not old. And I remember it never used to be this way, Marslichtig babies. Do you understand what I mean? And then bloody clothes banks, Marslichtig babies. If you could see it some days, it's a bloody disgusting mess. Okay, Marslichtig babies. So yes, I am moaning. A moan a day, there we are, keeps you not so friendly, quack away. You know what I mean, Marslichtig babies? But I'm just done saying it the way it is. Some days it is just a complete and utter damn mess. It looks disgusting, just clothes thrown everywhere and whatever else. It's just not very nice at all, Marslichtig babies, to look at. It's hideous. But if you look at nature, nature stays the same until they send certain now, which of course, you know, they would say they're only doing their job. That's what we hear across the board. Well, we're only doing our job. You know what I mean? Mad delicious babies, but until certain decide to come and cut down our beautiful little trees, when they certainly do not need to. They do not need to, mad delicious little babies, so they're clearly using it. There we are, for some reason. Plus the fact with them, these bloody poxy flipping cameras and satellites and whatever else. Do you know what I mean, Mardilistic babies? So yes, I've had my say. Anyway, only one video today, Mardilistic babies, and with anybody not in that way, apart from one anyway. This is Trigonometry, 1.86 million subscribers on YouTube, Mardilistic babies. Now then, this is a really good debate. It's been uploaded, I think about over 19 hours ago now. Okay, so it's the latest one, Mardilistic babies. Well, I'm halfway through listening to this, and let me tell you, that bloody doctor or whatever she is. Anyway, I could say a lot more, right? This is a reason why I do not like doctors and nurses. There's very few who I get along with, Mardilistic babies. For most, I cannot stand them. Because they too, what do they say, Mardilistic babies? They say, oh, well, I'm only following orders. Now, this woman on there, and yes, I couldn't give a figureless F if she was to see what I've got to say. Good. Because if I was flipping sat across the table now, there we are, I'd have something to damn well say. And bless the other woman, the blonde-headed woman there now, then she's got like a hair, like a bit like our lovely little Miss Marilyn Monroe, like hers. Okay, Mardilistic babies. Good on her. Good on you, lass. Yes. You know what I mean? Saying what she's saying. Yes. And she was calling that doctor, whatever she is, dishonest. There we are. And it is absolutely correct. What is this about? Mardilistic babies? Right, get me started on this. All this bloody transgender business. Now, at the end of the day, I too refuse to accept that giving puberty blockers to young bands is a good idea. I refuse to accept that. Okay? Now, this is the mentality of these kind of doctors. Okay, Mardilistic babies, but I'm telling you something now. She wouldn't want to be anyone who I'd want to see. Not to the flipping month of Sundays. You know what I mean, Mardilistic babies? Okay, she's a horrible, cretin critter of a woman. And I say it to my camera, Mardilistic babies. I just, honestly, I'm not just saying it, Mardilistic babies. If it comes to a debate like that, right, I've just got no patience. And I couldn't give a figureless F if she felt offended. I really couldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Mardilistic babies, okay? How can that flipping bitch sleep at night? And there's plenty of her. And you get he's as well, isn't it? So you've got plenty of them, haven't you? It's like, the part I was up to, where it's like, when these lads and lassies are young, they say, oh, they're born in the wrong body. Well, the blonde-headed woman, bless her, she was saying she doesn't believe, that, what they say, but she doesn't believe in the, do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, okay. Well, I totally agree. I mean, over the decades, Mardilistic babies, I've seen these, like where these men transition to a woman and like they put like a, well, like a, your little cherry Mardilistic babies, do you know what I mean? And your little lettuce, I call it. You know what I mean? You go to the toilet, you go shake your lettuce. If you're a man, you shake your cucumber. You know what I mean? Mardilistic babies, it's just science. You know what I mean? But I've seen it over the decades. These programs, where they're transitioning. Do you understand what I mean? And say when they're taking all these tablets or whatever they're taking, to give them boobies and everything like this. Now then, I would say about anything, Mardilistic babies, within reason, live and let live, okay? But for myself, I do not, me personally, it's not my cup of tea. I do not agree with it personally. I do not believe that one should. I mean, there was one who I saw who wanted, as well, to have a larger cucumber. It's just like sticking mincemeat into it, Mardilistic babies. It's just awful to watch, Mardilistic babies. But these do all these things now then. But what ends up happening, Mardilistic babies, do you know what I mean? Now, if one's gone through puberty blockers, have gone through all these different things, what do they end up? They end up depressed. bless them. They end up where life just really isn't worth living. Now, what that blonde one was talking about as well is like, it's natural, isn't it, Mardlichtig babies, for like a man and a woman to, uh, you know, well, get together, and let's just say, have a little rumble in the jungle, Mardlichtig babies. It's a natural thing, isn't it? Okay? But the fact of the matter is, Mardlichtig babies, is at the end of the day, you're right. You're right. You're right, Svay. I'll talk to you shortly. It's just my beautiful dear little neighbours opposite. They've just come back from their holidays, Mardlichtig babies, anyway. So I'll talk to them shortly. Yeah, I will. I'll talk to them shortly. Anyway, Mardlichtig babies, so what was I just saying? Get back to the matter in hand. So, and she was talking about, and she was saying about men and women and, to like have a little swing from the chandeliers. That's just my saying, Mardlichtig babies. I just like to keep it, I know I swear on some of my videos, but you know what I mean? I do try to be, respectful where I can. But yes, I mean, it's a natural thing, isn't it, Mardlichtig babies? For myself, well, I'm just celibate. You know what I mean? Mardlichtig babies anyway. But the fact of the matter is this. So she was talking about all that, and it's a natural thing. Well, with these who do other things now, okay, and usually from a young age, isn't it? Okay, well, it's going to cause problems for them when they're older. So what is it that I'm saying? Mardlichtig babies? So they're living their life, and this is not me being nasty. I'm not going to say about every single solitary one of them, but they're living their lives, Mardlichtig babies. Well, they're just existing, aren't they? Because they're totally depressed. They're depressed at what's happened to them, what's happened to their bodies with the changes and so forth. So, it's not a very good existence, is it, Mardlichtig babies? So for the rest of their lives, there we are, they are suffering. Okay, Mardlichtig babies, and that's what the point is. So these bloody poxy doctors now, and I couldn't give a figler's F who they are and what flipping letters they got before the name. I couldn't give a figler's F about that shart. No, I could not, Mardlichtig babies. At the end of the day, they shouldn't even be damn well practising. They should be damn well, I'm not shouting at you, Mardlichtig babies, they should be damn well ashamed of the damn selves, isn't it? But when they're getting all this ka-ching, ching, 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 to live in their, whatever they want to call it, a posh house, and have the wheels and have the holidays whenever they want and all this. It's amazing what they do, isn't it? Dirty little effers, man. I wouldn't even wipe them off my shoe. That is how I feel, Mardlichtig babies. So I'm well behind that dear woman. Bless you. I'm not pointing, that's rude. Bless you, that woman on trigonometry, because she's having a say, there we are, and rightfully so, and bless her for it. But of course, when you ask, questions that the other one is not alike in now, this so-called doctor, what she bloody calls herself, right? When your other woman there now then is asking a question she's not liking, and then she feels offended. Well, isn't it damn well offensive to do what you do to young bairns? Isn't that offensive? To not only the little young bairns, and as young as the age of 11, okay, Mardlichtig babies, isn't it offensive to their mummies and daddies and families as well? Do you know what I mean? How can any young bairn make all of these decisions? They simple things cannot. Okay, Mardlichtig babies, I'm very passionate about this, and I just feel this, and rightfully so, what your woman there said, that blonde-headed woman with the glasses, what she said, banging correct. It is abuse. It is bairn abuse. That is what that is, Mardlichtig babies. I couldn't give a figler's F. I totally was in total agreement halfway through this video now, and I'll listen to the other half. Okay, Mardlichtig babies, but yes, please take a listen if you can. But, it's because of these doctors, okay, because they want to play creator. There we are. This is what this is about. Others would say they want to play God. Do you know what I mean, Marzlish babies? And it just effing mess up one's bodies, man. And then they're just existing. So therefore, I'm not being nasty. This is going to come across nasty now, what I'm saying, but I do not mean it that way, okay? But what good are these who are going through these things now then from when they're young to when they get older, right? And they're in such a depressive state and everything like that now then. How are they going to be, there we are, useful to society? So, although that can come across like I'm being a total bitch, no, I'm not. Have you ever seen videos, Marzlish babies? I wish you would see one or two to see how they feel with everything that they've gone through. Okay, and then you hear what they've got to say. Well, I mean, in all fairness, they're not going to really, not being nasty, be much use to many, are they? Because all they're going to do every day is whine and whine and whine. Marzlish babies, about how badly they have been dealt, very sadly, these cards. Now you're talking about, young bairns and adults, there we are, who should know better, isn't it? It's common sense, ding, ding, dong, dong. But we're not dealing with one's common sense. So I couldn't give a fiddler's F that woman, that doctor, whatever she calls herself, again, right? How many flipping decades she's been doing whatever I couldn't give a fiddler's F. Just to listen to her goes through me. You know what I mean, Marzlish babies, okay? Because they have a different mentality. You usually find this with these doctors, these surgeons, these nurses. They seem to have, for the majority, a certain mentality. You know what I mean? I would call it a thick skin now, isn't it? Where they just couldn't give a fiddler's F, and as long as they're doing the job, and then eventually they get the pension or whatever else, you know what I mean? They paid off the house or whatever they've done. And they're going to be hunky-dory tickety-boo. But let's just look at the trail that they've left behind them and all of the sad destruction it has caused. And that is my view, Marzlish babies. I'm not going to change my view. No, I'm not. But that's a banging woman, not in that way, a banging woman. There we are, so far, halfway through. Like I said, I'll listen to the rest of it for what she's saying. Okay? Oh, and then it come up about menopause. Well, of course, I'm still going through the menopause, Marzlish babies. Now, because your woman here now, the blonde-headed woman with the glasses I'm talking about, because she said, well, what does that mean? Words to effect. And because she refused any sort of, these bloody hormone things. I forgot what they're flipping called now. Like when women go through menopause, Marzlish babies. Anyway, these bloody medications. Well, I never took any. I mean, I've had it where, I've been absolutely sweating. I love Little Piggy's figure of speech. Sweating like a PRG, lavender. Okay, Marzlish babies. And, well, I've been absolutely drenched in sweat. So the second you have a shower, then you need another shower. You know what I mean? And yes, your body goes through, and I'm not ashamed to talk about any of this. No, I'm not. Probably at the start of my journey on YouTube with my videos, Marzlish, but I just used to get a little bit embarrassed about things, even like, if I wore a jumper and my chest looked a bit too big, I'd get really embarrassed. But no, I learned to, do you understand what I mean? Because I do, I love my body, there we are, the way it is. Do you know what I mean? But I did get a bit embarrassed at the start anyway, because, because it was first times, that I'd ever been on the cameras. Do you understand what I mean? Like doing videos anyway. But your body does go through changes. You know what I mean? Marzlish babies. But no, I never ever once went to the doctors to say, oh, I'm going through this. Oh, I've got mood swings. Oh, I got this, I got that. No, I never did any of that. It was all natural, just the same as your woman there now then. But what that so-called bloody doctor, whatever she is, right, what she was saying, no, our body, saying that the bodies need hormones, that our bodies need hormones and all this, right? So basically what she was saying is, if you look at it the way I read it, okay, Mads Lishtuk Babies, what I was listening to, is that what she's basically saying, oh, so if you do something naturally, like that woman is with her menopause, the same way as I am with my menopause, basically what she's saying is, there we are, that it's wrong. Can you see the damn mentality of that? You know what I mean? The whole idea is not to pop a pill, isn't it? Okay? But yeah, this is what you're dealing with. You know, this type of personality. I do not call it personality. I just think the woman's effing putrid, man. I tell you what, she wouldn't want to sit down with myself. There we are, because I tell her all about herself, and she wouldn't like me at all. You know what I mean? Because I'm quite happy to have a discussion with anybody. But, you know, don't use you because you've been doing what you've been doing 30 odd years, do you know what I mean? And think that your own shite doesn't stink, isn't it? And that you know better than everybody else. You see? This is how these stay. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? And that's what I've got to say. But yes, I mean, imagine the families going through all this, you know, what is it? You know, you sort of, you know, your little baby's born Eve and then wants to be bloody Steve. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Well, I just personally, I do not agree with any of it. I do not agree with puberty blockers. I do not agree with none of it. I do not believe that anybody's body should be tampered with in that way. Okay? But these doctors and these nurses, there we are, I've got a damn well lot to answer for. And we're talking decades. My delicious babies, not just 1 or 2 or 6 years now. No. We're talking, there we are, decades. They're putrid. Absolutely putrid. Okay, my delicious babies, so now, I happen to have a very different view, my delicious little babies, okay? And when you see the outcome of how these ones feel, because let me tell you, there really is not a lot. No, there is not, my delicious little babies, okay, who come out of this after having puberty blockers and having all different things done now, okay, where they come out hunky-dory, tickety-boo, and jolly and happy and up there with the butterflies and fairies. No. They have the rest of their life that we are in damn well misery, okay? And then they cannot, for some, have relationships or anything. And I've seen videos and I've seen programs of it over the decades where ones, there we are, suffer for these, what I call silly decisions. But young ones are not old enough to make these kind of decisions. And adults, there we are, I'll repeat again, once again, should know damn well better. And they try to, you know, paint over it. But of course, when your other woman there now, then with blonde hair and the glasses, when she turned around and she said, you know, well, I feel that you're being dishonest. Damn right. You know what I mean? Trying to justify all this carry on. You see what I mean, Martin? Babes? I'm not going to say anymore because it just gets me, there we are, damn well vexed and angry. And anybody else, blessed, because, well, if you're watching myself, Martin, babies, there we are, then you will be decent, you know what I mean? So bless you and thank you for any views, for any likes, the occasional comments. Bless you, even if my videos just do not get out, you know, these days. The fact of the matter is, I do my best to, you know, give out some videos. But the point is, and how I love you so, for always, forever. Always and forever. Okay, my delicious babies. Okay, just came into my model. Anyway, so the point that I'm making is, my delicious babies, anybody who I feel is not decent, okay, or let's just say they would have an agenda that easily bend, you know what I mean, my delicious babies, you not to trust any of them, and that doesn't mean yes. Okay, my delicious babies, this is where it's got to stop. There we are, it's got to stop. Okay, but it's a really good debate, and I'm going to listen to the rest of it, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Because there I am, you know, in the kitchen, you know what I mean? Got to peel my spuds as well in a minute. But the point of the matter is, my delicious babies, is that I talk out loud, and I say it the way it is. But when you look at, you've got a number, and it is a rather large number, isn't it, Mardlish babies? It's clearly larger than what we would have originally thought. Um, just being my, you know, adding things up now in my head. Yeah, I can add up when I want to. Okay, Mardlish babies, but, you know, you've got part of a society, and it's not just in our country, it's in other countries, Mardlish babies. You've got part of society where they're not living, I repeat again, they're existing, you know, and they probably have issues with work as well. There we are, I should imagine that comes into it all because I'm depressed, I'm feeling down, so therefore they miss days. Well, so really, if you really look at it, Mardlish babies, not being nasty, what use are they to society? And that comes across like I'm a total bitch. And if it does, well, I couldn't really give a fig's F. Okay? This is what has been done to these, and then to turn them the way that they do. Okay, Mardlish babies, it's like I do not agree with all this sex change business. I do not agree with none of it. You shouldn't be tampering with what is natural nature. Okay, Mardlish babies, I mean, I do know occasionally, you know, what do they call it? Mind you, it's not a very nice way to say, but it's a figure of speech, but that's what they say, isn't it? Sometimes you will have what's called a freak of nature. You know, so I do not mean that in a nasty way, you know, so you could maybe be born with both. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, well, you have to make I don't know, I suppose decisions have to be made, you know, I mean, I'm not a medical woman. Sorry, Mardlish babes, I'm certainly all woman, I can assure everybody of that. The point of the matter is, Mardlish babies, is this. Well, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they would have to have discussions of some sort, okay, I would have thought, okay, but if somebody can live a certain way, then, you know, and they were born that way and they can live that way, okay, well, then that's that. But when you start chopping off bits and doing other things now then that are not natural at all, and I've seen programs where they're in severe pain, and plus when they put you know, your lettuce, when they, you know, do that, I watched one many years ago where the hole, you know, like our, you know, our lettuces, well, the hole, you know, it's meant to go up a certain, well, you know, a certain length, shall we say, okay? This one had had the operation, this man had had the operation, Mardlish babies, and he was in pain because what was happening was this hole would only go so far, okay? And of course, well, that in itself, that's what I mean. To me, it's bonkers, crackers, and crazy, man. You shouldn't be chopping bits off. You shouldn't be doing things to your body. You should not be doing any of those things. That is my feelings on the matter, Mardlish babies, okay? And thank goodness that I'm not one of these blooming counsellors, mind you. Half the counsellors need counselling the damn selves, don't they, Mardlish babies? But thank goodness I'm not a counsellor. I was going to do that course, a counselling course. And then some reason, there we are, something switched in me. And just said no. It's just something just kept saying no. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. In fact, you know, when I went to the college, you know, even the tutor said, she says, you know, spoke to me privately and said, you know, you way too intelligent. You know what I mean? And I just said, oh, well, thank you. You know what I mean? But she says, way too intelligent for... Do you know what I mean? Mardlish babies. Well, that's the first. Never heard that before, Mardlish babies. I'm not putting myself down. No, I'm certainly not. I am intelligent. There we are. I'm using me ding, ding, dong, dong, flipping noddle. And me damn well common sense. And my common sense would tell myself not to do anything like that. But thank goodness, getting back to the counsel a bit, that I'm not a counsellor and having to listen to that day in and day out. It's enough to flipping, you want to go to the nearest park, and I'm not saying that to, you know, taking the pee out of anybody who very sadly, you know, is at that point of depression where there's nowhere back. I'm not saying that, Mardlish babies, but, you know, you don't want to go into a job where you come back damn well depressed, you know what I mean? And that's what I just said, you know, you'd want to go to the nearest park. You know what I mean, Mardlish babies? So this brings it a lot of complications. Brings with it, sorry, correct English, a lot of complications, Mardlish babies, you know what I mean? So that is why I'm just not, but I wouldn't have time for it. And I mean, you imagine being an employer. Imagine that. So you're an employer, and then, so therefore, ding, ding, dong, dong, you employ, don't you? Because that's what employers do. They have employees. But if somebody's off sick, poorly, most of the time with mental health, sorry to say it that way, but it is the truth. If they're, what are you gaining? And furthermore, what are they gaining with all of their mental health issues? Well, nobody's gaining, are they? And even if they went to another job, very sadly the employer has to let them go, then they have to apply for another job. But it's going to be the same damn thing, isn't it? You see, we have to look at things a different way. But we also, there we are, need to get real about this. I just do not have the patience, neither the time, neither the patience for it. And, like I just said, if anybody calls me a bitch good, anybody should feel free to say so. I couldn't give a damn anyway. Couldn't give Fiddler's F, quite frankly. You know what? Because I've got a view. I'm a woman with a view. I should have my effing view, and that's my effing view. Shouldn't tamper with your body. You shouldn't, the ones that are not old enough to make a decision and ones who are adults, well, let me tell you. Do you know what I mean? When our beautiful dear creator was handing out brains, very sadly, there we are, seemed to miss a number out. Okay, my delicious slick babies, and that's just my thoughts. We've got enough to worry about in the world. We've got loads of things to worry about in the world. We've got some happy things, but then we've got a lot of very serious things in the world, my delicious little babies, okay? But again, we get back to it again. It's also a form of, and this is how I'm going to end my video, it is a form of being selfish as well. Now, why am I saying that? Because if somebody doesn't feel well, and especially with everything what they've gone through, okay, my delicious little babies, then they're expressing themselves, but this is on a daily basis, every day, okay, and it's always, there we are, about themselves. Now, if one's going to call me a bitch for saying that, good. But that is how I see it. It's like ones with somebody could have other diseases, whatever, it is about themselves. And that's not being nasty. Do you know what I mean? So it's not myself being a bitch, it's not that I'm unsympathetic. I'm just done saying it, there we are, the way it is. And if ones, there we are, were true to their hearts, there we are, they would see where I'm coming from. There we are, they would. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, I could say more, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go and flipping get my cake out the oven. So whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you so. You're super duper wonderful, super duper delish, and I love you. Okay, and thank you for watching any of my videos, you know what I mean? I know that I'm trying. Some days I can be very trying. Okay, my delicious little babies, but I will forever love you. Okay, and bless you all. Okay, but no, I just say it the way it is, and it doesn't always sit correctly. But like I said before, and I say it again, I'm not here to make friends. I've got my hand here, and my beautiful, there we are, true and honest dear friends. Do you know what I mean? And they're all so beautiful. So as far as I'm concerned, am I concerned about what somebody else thinks of myself? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? Do they clothe me, feed me, pay my bill? No. So therefore they're insignificant to myself. Do you know what I mean? So call me, there we are, having a thick skin, and call me speaking monoddle. Well, there we are. It's better out than in. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? Because if you go down that road and you start feeling sorry, so it is feeding the problem. There we are. It's feeding the problem. It's not helping to sort a solution out to the problem. Do you know what I mean? Well, I've got a flipping solution. Bang all of these flipping so-called bloody doctors and bloody these surgeons who do these damn things. Bang them all out. Not in a violent way. Get rid of them. Because I believe, and I've said this whatever o'clock I haven't to my delicious little babies, for anybody's kind enough to listen to myself, we need a fresh slate, a clean slate. There we are, is what we need. That's what we need. My delicious little babies, if it was left in my hands, oh gosh, you would see the changes. Let me tell you. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Okay, yes, I am strict. I am a strict woman. There we are. I am a strict woman. I wouldn't be putting up with none of this crap. And that doesn't mean yes, my delicious little babies. No, I would not. Okay, that'll be flipping out the window for a start. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, and that's what I've got to say. But I do enjoy listening to trigonometry. Anybody who I advertise, not in that way, but anybody who I advertise, I just enjoy, but sometimes I really just do get really into it. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, and with the conversations, all different conversations, I'm going, yes, no, yeah, I agree with that, and I'm going like this, If you could hear me on a daily basis, my delicious babies, and of course, whoever come up with that silly saying, oh, you talk to yourself, it's a sign of madness. No, it's not. It's where we make, there we are, damn well common sense to our damn selves. Do you see what I mean, okay? So whoever made that up, well, we all know why. By design. Okay, my delicious babies. Love you. Take care. Thank you for listening. Oh, I hope my cake's all right. Goodbye. Love ya.